Hi, in this video I want to teach how to crochet for the very beginner. I have a request from one of my subscribers that saw my video on how to knit, and she never had knit or crochet and she wanted to learn first to crochet, and she asked me please if I can do a tutorial. I did my first tutorial in Spanish and I decided to do the same in English just in case anybody there that want to learn how to crochet and decide to give it a try in my video. Well, here I have a different size yarns to show you the different type of yarns you can get, from yarns like these to very thin yarns for crochet for babies or any other project that you can do with very thin yarn for summertime, to a different array of yarn. For the thinner one, this one, you will use this one called for a 3.5 millimeter. You will be using from 2.75 or 2.5 to 3.75. That is the best for a thin yarn like this. And for the other one, you will be using as the project call or the package. But sometimes you can use one number more or one number less with, or the half of the numbers with the yarn. For example, for this one that is a very thick yarn, this is super bulky from Lion brand, you can use something like this. For the other ones that they are a little, they're thick too, you can use something like this. You know, it's different size of hook in the market, from 0 to I think it's 10 millimeters, and they're made of metal, plastic, or wood. What else I want to say? Sometime I wanted to explain. Sometime you see a project and a call for 3.75 to do a baby's hat. And for example, this is an example, is from 0 to 3 months, and you want to do the hat for a baby 4 to 6 months. The only thing that you need to change is the size of the hook, because that way you go to, if the project calls for a size 4, you go to a 5 or 5.5, and it will go make the project a little bit bigger, and that will fit a bigger size baby. But if the baby is 1 year old, you have to change completely the size of the hat, more increase, all that stuff. And that you will learn as you go, as you learn how to crochet. Okay, let's start our little video on how to crochet for the very beginner. We're gonna start learning how to do a slip knot. Everybody have a different way to make their slip knot. This is my way to do mine. I wrap the yarn, I leave a little tail, wrap the yarn around my finger, and I cross it in the front like that. I hold it there with my thumb. I remove that loop from my finger, and that yarn that is in the back, I pass it through that loop and pull the tail. And like that you have your loop to start your slip stitch. Like that. You can make it bigger or smaller. One more time. You wrap your yarn in your finger, hold it there, remove that loop, pass that yarn and from the back to the front, to inside that loop there, and you pull through the tail, just like that. Okay, now I'm gonna teach you how to do a chain, and I'm gonna be using the 5 millimeters crochet hook. This is, for me, is a very popular size. It's already losing the color. And I'm gonna wrap my yarn on my finger and do my slip knot. You insert your hook through the loop, and some people grab the yarn like this. I don't. I find it more easy for me to grab it, put it through that finger like that, and to hold it with the rest here, and that's how I use it, and then slide through the back there. Okay, you're gonna do, you have your crochet and your loop, and you're gonna do wrap your yarn on the hook like this, through the under like that, the yarn, and you're going to grab it through the little head that the hook has, and you pull it through your first loop, and that's your first chain. And the same, you grab your yarn and pass it through the loop, and you have your second chain like that. You go under the yarn to grab it, and you pull it through the loop. I hope you can see well enough. You grab it, pull it through, and like that is how you do your chain. And you will continue doing the chain that the project called for, just like that. I'm going to continue doing a little chain, that way I will teach you some of the stitches. I have made 20 chain, and now if your project called for a slip stitch, you're going to do 21, one more, to turn your work around. Now you're going to go to the second chain from the hook, and you're going to insert your hook, and you're going to grab that yarn that is in the back, and you're going to pull it through, and you have 2 strands of yarn in your hook. You're going to grab the first one and pass it through the loop of the second one, like that, and that's a slip stitch. Again, you're going to pass your hook through those 2 strands of yarn, like that. Some projects call for just 1 strand of yarn, but most of them is the 2 and the top, like that. And you're going to grab that yarn behind, the one that you're using, and you're going to pull it through. You have 2 strands of yarn, and the first one you're going to pass it through the loop of the second one, and like that you make your slip stitch. A slip stitch, usually you use it to close the project, or when you're doing most of the time is when you're closing a project, you have to do a slip stitch, or if ending a row. Okay, you're going to go again, pass your yarn through the next chain, like that, and slip to the strand of yarn that you have in the hook, like that. Again, you have 2 strands of yarn, and slip the first one through the inside of the second one, just like that. Okay, now I'm gonna teach you how to do a single crochet. I have my 20 chains, and if the project called for 20, you do 20 or 30, whatever amount of yarn, many chains you're supposed to do. And then you have to do 1 more to turn your work around with a single crochet. You're going to go to the second from the hook, and you're going to grab your yarn again like you are doing for the slip stitch. You have 2, but this time you're going to wrap your yarn in your hook. You're going to have 3, and that third one, the first one from the hook, from the tip of the hook, you're going to pass through those 2, and you have your single crochet. One more time. You're going to pass your hook through the chain, you grab your yarn, you have 2 loops, you wrap your yarn on the hook and pass it through those 2 loops, and that is single crochet. Again, you have 2, and like that, single crochet. You pass your yarn, your hook through the chain, grab your yarn, you have 2, you have 3, and that first one you pass it through those 2 loops, and you finish your single crochet. Now I'm going to teach you how to do half a double crochet. If the project calls for 20, you have to do 22. If you call for 30, you have to do 32. Always add 2 to turn your work around. I want 1 and 2. Now I'm going to wrap my yarn on the hook like that, and you're going to go to the 4 chain from the hook. Why the 4? Because these 2 chain will be the first half a double crochet, and the third one will be the one that was the number 20, and that will be on top of the 20. You see, those two will be on top of the 20, and then in the 4 will be the 19. That will be the second half a double crochet. You go to the 4, you insert your hook through the stitch or the chain, you pull through, you have 3 strands of yarn, like that. You're going to wrap your yarn on the hook and you're going to pass it through those 3 loops, like that. And you have your second half a double crochet. You're going to wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 2. You're going to go to the next chain, you're going to pass it through. You're going to grab your yarn through and pass it through, you have 3. Wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 4. And that one, number 4, or the first one, from the tip of the hook, you're going to pass it through those 3 loops, like that. And you have your third half a double crochet. Again, you wrap your yarn on the hook, you go to the next chain, you pass it through, you grab your yarn, pass it through the chain, you have 3, wrap your yarn, and that one you pass it through these 3 loops, like that. Nice and easy. You wrap your yarn again, go to the next one, you pass it through, you have 3, you wrap your yarn again, and that one you pass it through those 3 loops. And like that you do the half a double crochet. Something that I wanted to say, if you are a very beginner and you want to do a project, don't start making something very difficult. Just start doing a simple scarf of any stitch of these that you like. Just do a scarf, and then from there you will take different projects, easy projects for beginners. There's tons and tons here on YouTube. You wrap your yarn on the hook, go to the next one, pass it through, pull your yarn, you have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 4, and that one you pass it through those 3 loops. Okay? Now I'm going to teach you how to do a double crochet. You're going to do how many chain the project called for, they tell you to do, plus 3 more. I have 20 chain. For my little sample, I'm going to do 3 more, 23. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to wrap your yarn around the hook, and you're going to go this time to the 5th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th you're going to do your first double crochet. You're going to pass your yarn through that chain space, you pull it through, you have 3, you wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 4, and that one you're going to pass it through those 2 first loops, like that. You're going to have 2 left over in your hook. You're going to wrap your yarn on the hook again, and you're going to pass it through those 2 loops, and that's how you do your double crochet. Why I put this time the double crochet and the 5th from the hook? Because those chain 3 are a first double crochet, and the number 4 will be the first one of the 20 chains. Now you're going to wrap your yarn on the hook, and you go to the next one, next chain, pass it through, pull your yarn through, you have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 4, and that one you will pass it through the 2 first ones, you have 2 left, wrap your yarn on the hook, and you're going to pass it through those 2 loops, like that. Again, you wrap your yarn on the hook, and go to the next chain, you pass it through, just like that. You have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, and that one you pass it through those 2, and wrap your yarn and pass it through those 2. You only have to try to have them the same height, the same tension you work. You wrap your yarn around the hook, go to the next one, you pass it through the chain space like that. You have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, pass it through those 2, you have 2, wrap your yarn on the hook and pass it through those 2, just like that. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this all the way to the end, and I will show you how to turn around your work for all those 4 stitches that I show you how to do. Slip stitch, single crochet, half a double crochet, and a double crochet. Here I finished the row, and if you did what I say, to go to the 5th from the hook, you will have, counting those 3 chains, you will have 20 double crochet. Now we're going to pretend that we did slip stitch, that this is no row of double crochet. Let's pretend that there was a row of slip stitch. You're going to chain 1. If it was slip stitch, you're going to turn your work around, and you're going to go right there. If you pull your yarn like that, you will see a little hole in this one here, and you're going to go just right there. You pass your hook through, and you pull through. You have 2, and you're going to pass that first one through the second loop, and that's a slip stitch. And the second row, you're going to pass it through there, and you have 2, and you go like that. You're doing exactly the same thing, but going through the top of the one underneath, just like that. Let's pretend we did a row of single crochet, and now you're going to chain 1, turn your work around, and in the first single crochet that you will have there, you will pass your hook through, you pull through, you have 2 loops, you wrap your yarn on your hook and pass through those 2 loops, and you have your single crochet. Again, you're going to pass it to the top of the one underneath, and like that, you have 2 loops, wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 2, pass it through, and you have the next single crochet. And like that, you're going to continue doing your work, and then you will go to the end, chain 1, and turn your work around, and like that. Now I'm going to teach you how to turn around with a half double crochet. It's a little bit different. You're going to chain 2 to turn your work around, 1 and 2, turn your work like that. You're going to wrap your yarn on the hook, and we don't going to go to that hole in there, because these 2, it counts as the first half double crochet that is on top of the one underneath. You'll go to the next one, and top of the next one. You wrap your yarn on the hook, and you will go to the top of the next one, and you pass it through. You have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, and you will pass it through that one like that, and you have your second one. You see, 1 and top of the one underneath. You wrap your yarn on your hook, and you go to the next one and do exactly the same. You have 3, and you wrap your yarn and pass through those three loops. Like that is how you're gonna work half a double crochet in the second row. You're gonna go all the way to the end. That you're gonna work in the top of this chain here and there, and you're gonna chain 2, turn your work around, and you will have finished that row. Now I'm going to teach you how to do the turnaround for a double crochet. This time we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. That's for a double crochet. You turn your work and you wrap your yarn on the hook. And again, you don't gonna work in this one here. You're gonna go to the second one there, and you're gonna do. You have 3. Wrap your yarn on the hook. You pass it through those 2. You have 2 left. Wrap your yarn and pass it through those 2 loops. And there you have your second double crochet, because those chain 3 counts as the first one. You wrap your yarn on the hook. Go to the next one. Again, you have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, you have 4, and that number 4, or the first one from the hook, the tip of the hook, you're going to pass through those 2, you have 2 left, wrap your yarn and pass it through those 2, like that. That's how you're going to do your second row of double crochet. Wrap your yarn on the hook, go through the top of the stitch below, you have 3, wrap your yarn on the hook, pass it through 2, and pass it through those 2. And like that, you're going to go to the end until you work on top of those chain 3 here, and you're going to do your last double crochet in that top of that, chain 3, and turn your work around. Well, I hope this will help you to learn the very basic of how to learn how to crochet. And remember, this is my first time teaching how to do it. So I hope you guys like it. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. That way you can do all the projects that I have and learn as you go with my project. And have a great day. Bye.